Hey everybody, Deathblade here with a little bit of a different kind of video than I usually do. Some time ago, I want to say a year and a half ago, I intended to do a series of videos that were book reviews, and I only got 2 done. I'm finally revisiting that topic because I got a book here that I really want to recommend. It's actually a picture book for children. For those of you who maybe have friends, family, with young ones that like picture books, I would highly recommend it. I'm gonna get into it in a second. I do just wanna point out that this is not a sponsored video. This is not a paid promotion. The author doesn't even know that I am talking about this, but considering that many of you out there in my audience are interested in Chinese culture and that kind of stuff, I think that it would be nice for you to know about this book. It's actually a Kickstarter that I backed. It's called Little Sen's Chinese Holidays. And as you can see, if you look inside, has Chinese and English. So this is great for anybody out there who has a young one who is either learning Chinese or who already speaks both languages. It's a great. Before I get too far into the video, shinylantern.com, as you can see there, is the website where you can purchase it directly. Like I said, I backed the Kickstarter, but you can just purchase it directly. I don't think it's on Amazon, so you have to buy it directly from the author. I'm gonna pull up some of the images of the interior art that come from the Kickstarter page. It has really nice, cute art, and it's basically just about a kid named Little Sen and his experience with the Chinese holidays. So it goes through the main Chinese holidays of Spring Festival, Lantern Festival, Tomb Sweeping Day, Dragon Boat Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, and Double Ninth Day. These are basically the main Chinese holidays. Chinese holidays are a little bit different than Western holidays. They aren't necessarily very religious or even, not political, but like not directly related to China as a country. There are some, for example, National Day that gets celebrated in the mainland nowadays, but this doesn't talk about that. These are just the most traditional Chinese holidays. So whether you have young ones that you're interested in introducing Chinese culture to, or if you have young ones who are culturally Chinese and you maybe want to connect them to that Chinese culture, this is great. It goes over the main customs and traditions. Most Chinese holidays are basically about eating a specific kind of food and just spending time with your family. And there's other things as well, and this goes directly into them. There are a few things that I take issue with, some inconsistencies in the way some things are translated. There is a heavy reliance on Pinyin, which I think is fine for families who have Chinese-speaking children because they're used to saying those things in Chinese, but for a child who is not familiar with Chinese culture, or for somebody who is buying it for a child that's not familiar with Chinese culture, it might be difficult to pronounce those things. I personally like to translate things as much as possible. So for example, in the book it talks about zongzi, which I usually translate as glutinous rice dumpling, or there's other ways to translate it as well, but I feel like it would have been a better service to the non-Chinese speaking community to translate it that way. Or for example, there's a part that talks about dragons. The art in that part is actually pretty cool. For those of you who are actually watching the video, I'll show you real quick. Has a really cool picture of a dragon there, but it says, Dragon Boat Festival began long ago as a day to honor Long, the legendary Chinese dragons. I don't feel that it was really necessary to transliterate Long. Long just means dragon. They could have just said to celebrate Chinese dragons. But in any case, I don't want to rag on the book. It's really cool, really cute. That said, the book is obviously intended for people who are already kind of familiar with Chinese culture and most likely are Chinese already. My son is 4. He is bilingual, so he speaks Chinese and English. Spent most of his time in China, except for the past year, which was when we moved back to the United States. So I got this for him specifically because I want him to kind of be connected to that Chinese culture and remember it and know it, even though we're outside of China. And he really likes the book. He asks for it at bedtime. We have story time every day before we go to sleep, and he asks for this one. He likes the pictures, he likes the stories, and he has learned some things as well. So again, it's called Little Sen's Chinese Holidays. I highly recommend it. Since we're heading into the holiday season in general, for Western culture, it's a perfect time to pick it up and give it as a gift to a young one. And of course, for those of you who are maybe Chinese or have Chinese family members, it's very soon going to be heading into the Spring Festival time, Chinese New Year. And so this is a great way to kind of introduce that. And I do have to say, if you are not very familiar with Chinese culture at all, hey, you can actually learn a lot about the major holidays and how they're celebrated. So this was a pretty short video. I don't want to go on and on. I don't want to spoil the contents of the I keep wanting to say novel because that's my main thing is Chinese fantasy novels, and I'm always saying Chinese fantasy novels, Chinese fantasy novels. Well, technically this does have a dragon in it, so it kind of falls into that category, and the picture is pretty cool. So anyway, it's a great choice of a gift for a young one that is interested in Chinese culture, or perhaps that you would like to get interested in Chinese culture. So that's it for this video. If you have any recommendations for other books to review, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. For my book review videos, I'm not talking about the fantasy novel web series. Because of how long those series are, I usually don't have time to read them other than the one that I am working on. So I don't have much to recommend in that regard. I do have novels that I have read in the past, especially traditional wuxia novels and maybe some non-wuxia Chinese novels that I could recommend. But if you have a specific one that you have in mind, please go ahead and suggest it and I'll put it into consideration. That's it for this video. I'll see you next time. 告辞了。